Okay, we are recording. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are the Ecological Society of America student section, and today we are holding an interest meeting for those who are interested in running for the governing board, and also just for anyone who wants to learn more about the student section. If you have any questions or any ideas, I'm the new vice chair, and I'm really excited to work more with our students and creating initiatives and so forth. So this is a webinar and a Q&A. So I wanted to just briefly tell you that currently we are accepting applications for the ESA Student Section Governing Board. These applications are due September 15th, and they are for the following positions. So vice chair is a 2-year term. You're the vice chair for 1 year, and then the following year you become the chair. Secretary, treasurer, and social media coordinator / webmaster and marketing officer. I will put the links in this chat in a couple of minutes while someone's talking maybe, but there is an online application that you fill out, and then the entire student section will vote, and it will be determined by majority. And then the new governing board will basically begin October 1st. Okay, so I will turn off this slide in a second, but I'll introduce what we'll talk about, and then I'll go to the next slide after we've all gotten a chance to introduce ourselves. So say your name, your affiliation, your research, and then what position on the governing board you do, and maybe like a basic description of your duties. Okay, so I will start. So hello, my name is Callie Oldfield. I am a PhD candidate at the University of Georgia, where I study forest ecology, carbon pools, species distributions. I am the vice chair of the ESA student section, and a lot of what I do is really training to become the chair, learning the ins and outs of the student section and our role within ESA. You know, we have a lot of ability to do things. So we get a lot of money and funding, so we can fund many students through grants. We get the opportunity to share our voice a lot. So we have like liaison positions and committee positions. ESA is really supportive of students. Oh gosh, my cat's trying to land my keyboard. And they want to hear our voices. So we're really connecting students to different groups in order to really give a voice. And I also work with the liaisons. Liaisons basically are just a student representative within a different chapter or section. So yes, that is me. So who wants to go next?
I can go next.
Great.
So hi, I'm Josette McLean. I'm the secretary of the ESA student section. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. I go to school at Hampton University. I'm a second-year master's student, and right now I study Pacific lamprey. Those are a type of fish, and they're like eels, and they're feeding on a lot of different fish. So we're trying to use DNA from their stomachs to figure out what they're eating and how they're affecting their ecosystems. And I'd say my main responsibility as the secretary was to take notes of meetings. Every meeting that we had, I took down notes, and I would make a summary of every meeting and send it out in an email within 48 hours of our meeting. And then just sending any emails that needed to be sent. And also we are very collaborative. So if we have projects going on, even if it's not a secretary thing, like we always volunteer with each other's projects to help accomplish our goals and to work cohesively as the ESA student section. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. Sorry, Ajisha. My name is Vanessa Blevines. I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts, but I live here in El Paso, Texas, and I go to the University of Texas at El Paso. I am a GIS certificate grad student currently, and I work in an evolution and ecology lab that works mainly with freshwater zooplankton. My project, starting last week, is I'm going to be using my GIST skills to map the biodiversity of like temporary ponds here in El Paso based on the land use around them. My position is the treasurer for the ESA student section. I deal with obviously the banks and stuff, but communicating with the higher ups of the ESA section when we need checks for certain things or want to purchase merchandise. I communicate with them and let them know what we want. Before COVID, the treasurer is also responsible for planning the student mixer, but once COVID hit, that kind of changed a little bit. And I also just help out with all the board members' projects, and just try to get everyone to kind of cohese together and spread the word and advertise and all that fun stuff.
Thanks, Vanessa and Josette and Callie. Like, that was great. So my name is Ajisha Alwin, and I am currently at the University of Florida doing research with the norovirus. I work with host pathogen interactions of the norovirus in the gut. So my project is really complicated to explain, so I'm going to try to give like a one sentence hash of it. So essentially what we do is look at the effects of the virus with commensal bacteria affecting the virus at different parts of the gut and how that affects the replication. So that's my project. That's what I currently work on. Obviously not currently because I'm not in the lab right now, but that was the project I'm working on. But I will be writing a paper with my PI soon, and that's kind of the project for my semester. The work that I do with ESA, I also work with ESA as a research investigator. So the work I do there is essentially looking at undergraduate research experiences and how that translates as skills when it comes to entry-level positions and what the employers look at. So I look at both of those things, that what undergraduate field experiences teach versus what employers really want you to have as far as skills goes. And I'm hopefully getting published soon in the October issue of the ESA Bulletin, and that's going to move forward with another study. I'm actually recruiting students, anybody who's interested in the subject, to come and volunteer to be a part of the team. And of course, if you volunteer, then you will also be co-authors for the next paper, which will be in a peer-reviewed journal because we're going to get funding for that. So that's my research side of things. For the student section, I am the longest name ever, the social media coordinator, webmaster, and marketing officer. We're gonna work on that name in a little bit, but I'm also rerunning for this cycle. So the main work that I do is kind of like what they said. There's like several projects. What I do is just maintain the website, all social media, so all the posts, the flyers, and again, we all collaborate with our work. Like, I know all Callie, Josette, Vanessa, and Andre, they've all been super helpful in volunteering. So what I also do is coordinate the webinar series, which is something that's pretty new, pretty post-pandemic, that we've tried to move online, and a lot of other student initiatives. We're going to start a mentoring program soon, which is also going to be purely online. We're going to do more webinars. All of our webinars, everything is going to be posted on YouTube, so that is kind of part of a component of what I do. Is I also create and take the recordings, edit, and put them on YouTube, update them on our website, all that fun stuff. So, and I guess more on the outreach side of things, I also work with the liaisons to get like their information and put them as highlights and newsletters. We also do a good student highlight program, which we started, and I think it's going strong. We do Facebook Lives with students that are presenting new research, and we want to give them like this press release format of highlight, and we also put them on our website. We're currently working on making more of a blog and maybe potentially a journal publication for the highlights, but we'll see how that goes. But again, those are all like just different aspects of what I do. So we also definitely have a position that I will definitely take up if I get re-elected, is the coordinator position, which is essentially kind of another me. So kind of splitting the work that I do between two people, but that's kind of encompassing the work that I do, which honestly wasn't that much till we realized everything was moved virtual. So definitely more on the, anything we do virtually, like socials, events, most of it is going to involve me in the background. So that's me.
Great, thank you all for sharing. I just have two other prompts. The first one is, what is your favorite part about being on the governing board, either an aspect of your role or an initiative that you got to participate in? I can go first here. Stop share. So my favorite, this is kind of like something I'm looking forward to in the future also, but I'm really connecting with people. So there's a lot of momentum and a lot of excitement from students at ESA. It was so cool because during the virtual meeting, we could actually see how many people were participating and watching us and interacting with us, it was like, over 100 or 100 or 200, which is amazing. And so I'd really like to keep up that momentum, continue to network with, within ourselves as the student section, and then also like branch out to the other sections. So that's what I'm excited about that's currently happening, and then excited to think about in the future.
Okay, so I can go next again. I will say that the virtual meeting was really cool, especially like when we had our mixer, like because we were able to see how many people started off in the room, and I think it was like over 100. And normally as you continue, people leave and numbers get smaller. But I think for that, we had like the same amount of people for over an hour participating in our games, which was really, really impressive. I think one thing I love about being on the student section is meeting all of you guys and working together. Like we've built our team working skills and like not just networking and not just accomplishing ESA goals, but like friendship amongst ourselves. We've gotten to know each other and our research. And yeah, I think as well as the outer ESA community, because we sometimes have emails with them where they want us to do certain things. So I really appreciate the people that I'm meeting, the friendships that I'm making.
I would agree with you, Josette. When I first found out about the ESA Student Section Board because Anjali was my Seeds mentor. And so she kind of let me tag along to a lot of her events at the last year's annual meeting. And there wasn't a lot of undergraduate representation, so I was a little nervous to get involved. But when I did get involved, it's honestly been amazing. The networking is it's great. I met so many amazing people. I have a lot of new contacts in the ecology field, which is great. And like you said, Josette, it's nice to have friends where you just kind of feel comfortable. Like I feel like if I see you guys, I just come over and be like, hey. But so yeah, that's definitely been one of my favorite parts. And I also really enjoyed planning events. Like I had a good time with that. Was really excited for Dave and Buster's, but next time. So yeah, it's been great. I wouldn't change it, and I am excited to continue being part of it throughout past my education and stay in touch with everyone.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with all of you. I still remember when I met Callie, Vanessa, and Josette. Vanessa I met through Seeds, but I remember all of us coming together in that table with Anjali talking about like, okay, we're interested in joining the board. I was like, oh, cool, these are the people I still remember that. I don't know if all of you guys remember, but I still remember tagging along with Anjali. Yeah, you were there. You were there. I remember Callie was there before me when I was about to talk with Anjali. So yeah, that was quite, and we've gotten to know each other much more, even though it is through a virtual platform. And that's something I really like too. Like all the people I've met and from the diverse backgrounds of people. I mean, I didn't realize there were so many people similar to like the unconventional background that I am in. Like, I mean, I'm not like, directly, I have so many like unconventional steps in my career that I didn't know other people would have. And coming to ESA really showed me that you don't really have to be going the ideal route to get to your career. You can have a little stops and, a little hurdles along the way. And I think that's what the webinars really showed me is the amount of connections and the amount of people that are actually willing to spend time and are willing to share their resources and at the same time getting benefited out of this. We've gotten so much positive responses about the webinars that we're doing, the events that we're doing, and particularly with the student highlights. I've had so many people come and tell me the exposure that they got just because they were featured. And I know that a few of our student highlights actually got they got so much more exposure than they would have because they weren't able to present in person. So we were like, well, let's just do something that's going to be great for them. And I also like the fact that we did that international perspective webinar. Josette, that honestly introduced me to so many people, and we've now reached another separate pool of people that we're going to reach out to for our next webinar series. Obviously, I do want to get that started. It's just been really busy on my front, so I'm like slowly getting back and kind of splitting the responsibilities is going to be a big deal. So that way, as many people as I can get to volunteer, we'll definitely, get as many people, form a team, and then keep that going, because I know that as a board we have a lot of responsibilities ourselves, but when we want to expand it, For me, more people is always better because, if they're committed, if they're passionate to do the work, then of course we'd be happy to have them on our team. And that's another thing I want to put out, is that the board positions are not the only leadership positions available as part of the student section. We have so much more. We're going to come up with a lot more because of the new student initiatives we are planning. We also have like this mentorship program where you can sign up to be a mentor. You can be a peer mentor. It doesn't matter if you're a student, you will be able to share your resources to another student. So we definitely want to add you to our network to make sure if you are able to spend your time, even if it's not as fully committed as a board position, there are still so many other aspects of the student section that you can help. And another thing, I think I told a few people who asked me for like more information about leadership positions, is the liaisons. So if the section you're interested in to being a liaison for is not having a liaison position for the student section open, they might have one for other sections. So I do know that the communication section has like multiple liaisons that go to different sections chapters. So there are several opportunities available. So you want to make sure you can go through them, and definitely contact the people from the sections and ask us if you don't feel comfortable talking to them directly. We can make an introduction for you to go talk to them, and then connect them over there. So there's plenty, and of course we're always welcoming. We always love people who are really committed to the work, and we would like as many people as we can get.
Yeah, before I move to the next question, I just wanted to briefly say I went to like one of the like big meetings that the chairs go to, and gosh, like 4 I think sections that don't have a current student rep or liaison want us to help form that position. So if there's a section that doesn't already have a student representative or liaison, then we might be able to establish that as well, and several are interested. So we're in the works to do that.
Yeah, and I think we also should probably update our liaison list, because I know that they're not that updated, because I did double check them, and that link like apparently goes nowhere. So we should definitely look into that as well, because I think that might help people identify what positions are actually open.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last question I had prepared before kind of just an open Q&A or discussion is what advice would you have for someone new on the governing board, or what are you excited for the governing board to accomplish next year? And I will start. So my advice is to really think of the student section as like this really, really broad, interconnected group. So like we can connect with so many different chapters and sections within ESA, and then also within ourselves. So just realizing that you really can't just email someone and ask for something or form a new collaboration or a new initiative, and people are open and they're willing and they want to work with us as students, and they really, really value our opinions. That's one of the really awesome things to feel super supported as the student section. And then what I'm excited for, so Ajisha has already mentioned our mentoring program. I think that's really important, both being mentored and also mentoring someone else. I think that's how you can really build those skills. Something I would really be interested or excited to do is try to form either some sort of research collaboration discussion, or think about like ESA journals that we can actually publish, like student research or just a manuscript that comes from the student section, maybe on COVID, or there's a lot of topics we can talk about. So that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, so I'll go next. I think any advice I'd give to an incoming student governing board member or somebody thinking about applying is the first thing that I thought, because I was studying grad school, I was about to start my master's last year, and I was like, I don't know what my workload is going to be like. I don't want to take on responsibility that I won't be able to handle, because that was my mindset. And Anjali was like, no, I think you should still apply. Like, I know you're starting grad school, but so I want to encourage somebody that might think it might be too much for them. I'm not saying it won't be, but you have a lot of support, and if it's something that's too much, I could be like, Callie, can you help me? Because I can't do this. I have an exam coming up or something. So don't feel like you'll be solely responsible, or it'll be like a bunch of responsibility on you. And like Callie said, it's super interconnected, and you'll have a lot of fun. You'll meet a lot of new people, and you have the power to create initiatives. If there's something you want to do, Like you'd be surprised how much having like the ESA student section behind your name, people will respond to your emails. Like when you send out an email, they're like, oh, I'm part of the student section board, they'll get back to you. So it gives you a lot of creative power, or anything that you're passionate about that you think could be cool, you'd have that power to do it. And I'd say go for it, like definitely apply. And what was the second part of the question, Callie?
So if there's anything you're excited about for next year that the governing board should do.
Yeah, I'm excited as well for our mentoring program. And especially I think it'd be cool, like we added in to review people's applications for scholarships, because I know a lot of people like would appreciate feedback, because if they're applying out of the dark, they might be like, we don't know if we're on the right track. So I'm really excited for those initiatives.
So advice for coming in, I would say, like kind of Josette said, just do it. I was definitely nervous and skeptical, but it's just one of those things where you just go for it and do it. And then I would also advise, if you have any ideas, don't hold back, just share whatever you're thinking, because even if that entire idea doesn't come to light, some form of it does, because the way everyone collaborates. So even if you're just thinking of something small, share it, and then it could really become something big. And I think that's pretty cool. As for excited about the coming year, I'm excited to continue seeing more students join and get involved. I think that we did reach not only grad students, but a lot of undergraduates. And I think it's exciting that a lot of the siege chapters are really starting to come together in the universities. And I'm excited to see how that kind of plays a part in our involvement for the coming year for different like ideas. Because sometimes I feel like we don't get a lot of feedback, but we did really well at this year's annual meeting and the webinars that everyone is kind of becoming more involved now that we're virtual. So I'm excited to see the new projects that come about.
And I definitely agree with both of you that we've just been more virtual, and I think we've gotten way more engagement than we did before, and that's something really. And again, I really am looking forward to see the SEED chapters, and because they are a very large pool of students that we should be really collaborating more with, because they're also part of the student section, and they provide so many awesome resources that we could share with students. And again, I'm also excited about developing our webinar series, and I'm really excited to have, I don't know if Eli is in this call, but he is the person that's going to be participating as the coordinator, and he is pretty interested in the position. He's ready, and he has his own YouTube channel where he does a lot of podcasts, so he does stuff like on professional level. So I am super excited to have him on board too, and he's like super excited to like develop our webinars and just start a new series. We're going to start a how-to series that I think I mentioned in one of our webinars before, maybe, or like in one of the lives. So essentially that's going to be super focused. We're going to have either a panel of students talking about a singular topic, like how to maintain a professional Twitter, very specific. So it'll be super focused, and then you will have a speaker come in, and either me or Eli or anybody else from the board who is interested in mediating will do it. And the other thing I'm super excited about is the international student series that we're trying to develop more. I think that's a really good resource as well, to just see students from not just from from the United States, but also from other countries, to see how their experiences are like, the challenges they are facing, and how we can like help come together. And I super am interested in Callie's idea about the research collaborations. That is definitely something we can actually put like a discussion panel or something in our websites, where they can be like, okay, I'm looking for someone interested to collaborate with me on so and so project, and then people can like either respond there, or they can either sign up or something like that. And I think for the journals, the ESA bulletin probably is the best idea, because it's free and it's open access. So definitely, if the collaboration of all of us at the student section would collaborate on a manuscript, like say how the pandemic has affected students, and I think we already are reaching out to so many speakers, and I think a lot of them would be happy to collaborate on a piece like that, because we already do that for our webinars. And I think that's a good thing to kind of conceptualize. But again, we're like, it's kind of in the beginning area, so I'm really excited to see that come to fruition in the future. And like Vanessa said, if you have any ideas, even the smallest idea would help. I mean, because I mean, I honestly wouldn't have thought of the webinars or anything online, but it was just like a light bulb moment that I got from other organizations doing the same. I was like, why not do that here? So any small idea could turn into a big thing that gets, so many students benefited. So definitely if I have the smallest idea, then we would be happy to hear them.